All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto YAHWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Also want to give double honors unto the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. Blessings and salutation unto the hopeful elect, the Akim out there enduring this truth across the four corners of the earth, teaching and prophesying through the spirit of YAHWASHI, YAHWASHI in truth and sincerity, as well as the men and women that follow, and those who might look like the other nation but are of the nation of Israel on their father's side by blood. And yeah, this is a hit the button situation, you know. Give me a second. And you know, I wanted to get a lesson out, and I came across this, and me personally, you know, having a close acquaintance with the teacher, just understanding, you know, and even though it comes down to a lot of this, so you're talking about what, college students, people going into college, the whole dream of going to school and getting straight A's and getting good grades and going to college, getting degrees and get a good job is out the window. It is completely out the window. It's no longer efficient. All right. And I'm sitting here just kind of thinking, you know, as a man, I'm like, they probably just set it up like that. Pretty much brought in the school system and, you know, taught our generation and just eventually expected for it to crumble after a while anyway, you know. And a lot of it, well, we'll get into the article. I just want to get this real quick. Man, where is it at? Windows. Yep. This is Ecclesiastes 12:3. It says, in the day when the keepers of the house. Well, I'll go to 1. It says, remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. Yeah. When you start to get older and you no longer doing what you want to do, living your life, you got to remember the creator in the days of your youth, you know? So you can have that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding as you grow, so you can minimize your mistakes and bad decisions, you know? And while the evil days come not, because you got to be prepared for the evil days. All right, which we're in some of those days now, and it's soon to increase. It says, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. Yeah. All right. Before the days come when many businesses is boarded up, businesses is shut down, people are losing their jobs, which is starting to happen more and more and more. Okay, the grinders cease because they are few. That's the jobs, man. All right, and part of the reason of them being few is due to AI technology. So they've sat here, put us into this school system, and then the generations under us, you know, gave them tablets, you know, dumbed them down. They don't need any. They got all the workers. All right, they didn't sold this dream and had all of these other people get degrees in computer science and whatever else. All right, to further their plan and build their data centers and supercomputers and so on and so forth to make this world digital. All right, so when people looking out the windows now, they ain't seeing no vision. They ain't seeing no dream. They ain't seeing no light. It's dark, meaning they don't know where they going. All right. It says, so getting into this is dated yesterday. It says college professors say incoming students no longer understand middle school math and science, meaning you went through high school. You know, now you're in college. Now you're an adult. Now you're in the real world. All right, crazy. Chat GPT image. This is one of their images. You know, same thing that's taking jobs and teaching people. And don't get me wrong, it has its pros, you know, but ultimately nobody, you don't get that one-on-one help in a sense, you know, that one-on-one experience is what I wanted to say. Therefore, you just looking up something real quick and going about your day, it's not really sticking with you, you know. So getting into this, it says, according to a report from Futurism, University of California professors are urgently calling on university leadership to reinstate standardized college entrance exams, citing alarming deficiencies in incoming students' foundational knowledge. And that's the thing too. You also got the No Child Left Behind, I think it is. It says the No Child Left Behind Act was a sweeping 2002 U.S. federal law signed by President George Bush that overhauled the Elementary and Secondary Education Act. It aimed to close student achievement gaps by holding public schools strictly accountable for standardized testing results and yearly progress. Mandatory testing required public schools to administer annual statewide reading and math assessments to students in grades 3 through 8. Let me see. Maybe it's something different that I'm thinking of. Let me see. Every student succeeds. Maybe that's what it is. It says while No Child Left Behind increased transparency regarding achievement gaps, it was heavily criticized for promoting teaching to the test, setting unrealistic 100% proficiency goals, and unfairly penalizing underfunded schools. Because of these widespread criticism, Congress passed the Every Student Succeed Act in December of 2015, which officially replaced NCLB and returned more accountable and flexibility to the individual state. So maybe I'm thinking of something different. But there's something, well, let's see what that is. Maybe it is this. The Every Student Succeeds state design accountability and testing support for struggling schools instead of federal sanctioned. States are required to identify and provide customized support. Dang, what is it called? But it basically allows them not to be held back. There is no single federal law automatically protects elementary students from being held back because education is Leadership teacher school. Maybe I'm thinking of something different. Salakia for that. I'm gonna look for it though. I'm gonna look for it because I remember talking with them and that's what they were saying. I'm like, well, won't they just like, well, they gotta pretty much pass them. So I'm gonna look in that Salakia for that. You know, I'm gonna look into it, and if not, if I find it or don't find it, I'll come back with another video correcting it. But going back into this, it says the faculty letter submitted last week highlights a growing crisis in higher education preparation. Professors report that many first-year students arrive with math and science skills so weak they barely reach middle school levels, forcing instructors to divert precious class time to remedial instructions. So they're not properly prepared to even be in these college courses, right? But this is what they fed us, all right, all of our lives, and this is the standard that they had, and you know, and it's just been an ongoing cycle of generations, you know, going to school and like, shoot, you be having kids nowadays talking about they can't wait till Friday. It's like you act like you got a job, like you working. You know, you just going to school. But it's a lot of behavioral problems, a lot of issues with that. Drug issues, elementary and middle school. All right, so definitely high school. All right, because you got a lot of this vaping going on, and you know things are easily more easy to access. Okay, because you got a lot of dumb parents too. They just do a bunch of things in front of their children and leave things out for them to get a hold of. It's just a bunch of confusion. There we go. That's exactly what it is. It's a bunch of confusion. Let me finish this. It says the situation has become particularly acute at institutions like UC Berkeley. Nearly 1/3 of the students enrolled in first semester calculus now exhibit severe preparation deficits, according to the professor's assessments. That's 33%. You know, that's 33% of the people that are not prepared to take that class. But this is the dream that they fed us, you know. So now if you've made a system to where you need a piece of paper to get a good job, for the most part. There are ways around it now. Over the time, people have become more creative on hustles and figured out loopholes. You know, you don't really need to go to school, go to college rather, and get a degree to have a great paying job, to be successful in a sense. You know, because there's a lot of people with those degrees that don't even work in their field, you know. Damn. Only about 25 to 40% of college graduates work in fields directly related to their major 10 years later. Conversely, around 60 to 75% of graduates end up working in different, often overlapping fields. Career pivots are highly common, with skills translating well across industries. So you'll go to college for all of this time and then not even work in the field that you've decided to take, the career path you decided to take. Now you done wasted 4 to 5, 6 years, got in debt, owe tuition, and now you got to get a lesser paying job to pay that off. It's a lose-lose situation, you know. But this is part of the NWO. This is part of making America great again. This is part of, you know, a brighter future. All right. So right here, they pretty much was saying how many universities, you know, made the SAT and ACT optional, you know, and that stemmed from what? You see it, CVID. You know, that really shaped the so-called new world. It brought people to reality, you know. That was a hell of a year, or a hell of a couple years rather, you know. But it brought people to reality. All right, and people was losing their minds because they're used to being free. They're used to partying. They're used to going and coming as they please. Okay, it's just like you putting your child on punishment. They gotta find something to do. Reality is set in. They don't have all of the things distracting them like they used to. All right, and that's shoot. The world was put in timeout. The world was put on punishment. and people had to find things, all right, that outside of what they was used to. Ain't no clubs popping every weekend, and you know, going to all of the bars and going to baseball games and Chuck E. Cheese's and all of that. All right, so when they lock it down again, oh man, people gonna lose their shit again because they're gonna be shocked, you know, because they gonna remember what was going on during the CVID time. So it says the professors concerned are compounded by a rapid rise of AI tools, which have been linked to increased cheating, grade inflation, and diminished critical thinking. There we go, among students. That is the thing right there. You know, diminished critical thinking. All right, they don't have that. You know, search with Google. Says critical thinking is the intellectual disciplined process of actively analyzing, interpreting, evaluating, and synthesizing information to reach logical, well-reasoned judgment. And this is what you don't have amongst the younger generation. This is exactly what you do not have, because everything is so easily accessed to them that it makes it harder for them to cognitively understand things, to comprehend things. Okay? For them to do basic tasks, right? Like shit, we was growing up, we was outside though. That's the thing. We was outside, you know. Let me grab this real quick because it keeps popping up in my head. I want to give me a preset. This is Wisdom of Solomon. Maybe I need to read that. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse, I get straight to the point, 21. It says, for after that, let's go to 20. It says, where is the wise? Where is the scribe? Where is the disputer of this world? Hath not the Most High made foolish the wisdom of this world? And that's what it's come down to. The things that they used to work and used to help people succeed and flourish in this society, it no longer works. Because they taking a different turn. They taking the digital turn. All right? And they expect you to just get with the programs. Okay? It says, for after that in the wisdom of the Most High, the world by wisdom knew not the Most High. It pleased the Most High by foolishness of preaching to save them that believe. And that's it right there. You know, if it was to where the YAHWASHI is not, and it can't be that way, but to where the believers, all right, was able to just go on an island and you know, keep the wisdom of the Most High, you know what I'm saying? Then that's what it would be. It'll be peace in a sense, you know. But you know what would happen? The ones who don't believe would see that peace and that harmony, and they would want to come and disrupt it. They would want to come and disrupt it, because misery loves company, man. It's like, nah, let us sit on our island and y'all sit over there and continue to diminish our critical thinking. You know, just go ahead and do that. All right. But that's why the Lord has to you know, hit the reset button. All right, because the world is too far gone, man. It's too far gone. Let me see if I can remember this. Is it this one? Nope. It must be 7. I think it's 7 and 42. Yep. This is 2nd Ezra 7 and 42. It says, he answered me and said, this present life is not the end where much glory doeth abide. And that's what it is, man. Ain't nothing to really glory off of in this society. You know, men and brothers was just reading Ecclesiastes, and like he said, everything is vanity. You know, you start a business, you give it to your children, they'll sell it. You know, as soon as they get a fresh lump sum of money offer, instead of just really holding on to a legacy in a sense, giving it to their little ones, and so on and so forth, or whatever. All right, the women is going to shit, men is soft as shit. You know, people all out of shape, diets is all fucked up, food is fake, air is dirty and polluted, animals leaving their habitat. Said, now I don't even want to be in this water no more. I'm about to just go on shore and lose my life. You know, that's the society that we're dealing with. Ain't nothing to glory in. It says, therefore have they prayed for the weak, because people love it. They love it so, man. Our people and the other nations, they like this world. All right. Because what proves that, when we tell them the solution to it, okay, which the solution to it is for it to be cleansed. The way for it to be cleansed is by fire. The way for that fire to come is by war. In order for war to happen, it got to be a third world war. And it got to be nuclear. That's that fire. So if they didn't like it, so they would get on board if they could. But they rather sit here. They don't like the solution to the problem. They would want to put their own solution, which is not of the will of YAHWASHI, YAHWASHI. It says, but the day of doom shall be the end of this time and the beginning of the immortality for to come, wherein corruption is past. And that's what we're coming into, man. The day of doom is close. At judgment day. All right. Because there's nothing left in this place. They don't need any more students, especially with them having AI. Like I said, we always speak on the 15-minute cities. You know, they what they talk about, a 3-day work week. They talk about universal basic income. They're giving you all of these hints that they don't really need your ass no more. They'd be content with you being governed by some damn robot police, and you just what do they say? Own nothing and be happy. All right. So yeah, I just wanted to get into that, you know, through the spirit. And it's just, you know, that's just dealing with the colleges, you know. But now you got it to where people are starting to feel reality. You know, they're starting to feel reality. All right. But I am going to look for that. Maybe it's not a law, you know, maybe it's just like an option. I don't know. I'm going to look for it. And Lord willing, I'll come back with you know, a short video just to clear that part up. So with that, Lord willing, you was edified. Lord willing, we allowed to endure unto the end. Once again, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Shalom.